drought. We've been talking about it for weeks, and that severe drought area continues to grow as we're dealing with a bit of a light breeze out there right now. So that is something we're dealing with a wind speed of 16 miles per hour. It's not overly gusty, thankfully. Of course, that would make things much worse for the firefighters trying to battle that. We're at 77 with some clouds, but those clouds are thickest as you move down toward the south coast with a few drops down there. We have a few more shower and storm chances tomorrow, though. I'll walk you through the timeline of that coming up. Ed.
Kellyanne, thank you. Now at 5 o'clock here on News Center 5 tonight, our continuing coverage on the loss of a legend. Celtics great Bill Russell passing away at the age of 88, remembered as one of the greatest to ever play the game of basketball, one of the greatest to ever play sports, the greatest winner of them all. The city lit up in green to honor the athlete who won 11 championships with the Celtics, and flowers laid at his statue outside City Hall Plaza. All signs of love and admiration for their beloved great. But it hasn't always been that way. Russell endured years of racism and attacks in the city that now reveres him.
His daughter writing a column for the New York Times back in 1987, recalling some of those incidents, saying when Russell was on the road, vandals would target the family home. When the Celtics retired his jersey in 1972, Russell demanded the ceremony be done in an empty Boston Garden. Russell turning, though, that adversity into action. Ultimately, you saw there awarded the Medal of Freedom for his accomplishments in the civil rights movement and push for social justice.
I think I had a lot to do with the respect that athletes are treated with, black and white.
News Center 5's Emily Maha joining us live from City Hall with a look at the man Russell was off the court. Emily.
Well, Ed, Erica, you can see that growing memorial at the feet of the Bill Russell sculpture as people from all over stop by to honor the man whose legacy both on and off the field will continue to live on.
He was more than just a basketball player. He was an icon.
Standing in front of the Bill Russell sculpture at Boston City Hall, Jesse Bigham, wearing the number 6, takes it all in.
He was a cultural civil rights icon, and I couldn't think of a better place for his statue than right here, you know, because he meant so much, not just for the city of Boston, but for the Boston Celtics as well.
Russell won 11 championships with the Celtics, dozens of accolades, and an Olympic gold medal. His talent on the court went unmatched, while his convictions in equality and justice were just as strong.
Person who stood up for social justice at a time in our country's history when it wasn't very popular to do so.
Tom Whalen is an author and historian who teaches at Boston University. He says Russell stood firm in his convictions at a time when the city where he played basketball wasn't always standing behind him.
He spoke out against the Vietnam War. He spoke out against racism in the Boston area. And at a time when professional athletes in the early 1960s were kind of putting the civil rights movement at arm's length, he embraced it.
As people gather, they're honoring the man who was a legend both on and off the court.
May he rest in peace, may he rest in paradise, may he rest in power.
Now coming up at 6, we'll hear from people who say Bill Russell's words changed their lives forever. And we'll also talk more about the work he did that changed history. Live in Boston, Emily Maha, WCVB News Center 5.
Emily, thank you. Burning the midnight oil. Massachusetts lawmakers pulling an all-nighter to get things done before their final formal session comes to an end. And they finished off with a buzzer beater, reaching deals on sports betting and access to mental health, but leaving economic development on the table. Our political reporter Sharman Zucchetti joins us live right now from the State House with that marathon session, Sharman.
And it was a marathon session that actually ended early this morning. Lawmakers, they passed a number of major measures, but not tax breaks.
The following bill.
An all-nighter at the State House. Lawmakers passing legalized sports betting, expanded access to mental health, and updated gun laws.
I think sometimes the deadline pressure has people act, and so I'm glad we were able to get it done.
Lawmakers calling the sports betting measure a good compromise.
I think we have an agreement that protects both the consumer and the athlete while also bringing Massachusetts a brand new industry.
Advocates say the mental health reforms mean, among other things, yearly wellness exams covered by insurance.
This is a landmark piece of legislation, arguably the most significant thing this legislature has done for mental health in a generation. and is one of the most significant healthcare bills we've done in quite some time.
What failed to pass, a major economic development bill that included $1 billion in tax relief, investments in hospitals, and the potential return of happy hour.
Things can move, things that it's possible that we can pick away at this.
The House Speaker not ruling out passing parts of the bill during informal sessions. He says the tax breaks were thrown into question after lawmakers learned a little-known 1986 law would also grant billions in rebates to people. He says they didn't feel they could do both.
We wanted to make sure, be fiscally prudent, that we know what we're getting into.
The governor has said he believes the state can afford both the tax relief package and those rebates. Coming up at 6, hear from one state senator who says lawmakers ought to get back to work and come back in a session and pass that. We're live here in Beacon Hill. Charmin Sketty, WCVB News Center 5.
Thank you, Charmin. Victor Pena, the man convicted of kidnapping and raping a woman for several days inside his Charlestown apartment, will spend decades in prison.
Pena was sentenced to 29 to 39 years behind bars. Our Nathalie Pozo joins us live right now from the newsroom with the details tonight. Nathalie?
Ed, Erica, the victim, was in the courtroom today. She submitted an impact statement saying, quote, "There will never be an end to the number of ways this has destroyed my life." The judge today handing down a sentence of 29 to 39 years for kidnapping and 10 counts of aggravated rape. Pena was not in the courtroom, watching remotely as he has for most of the trial. The victim attended today's hearing, listening as the judge addressed Pena directly before handing down his fate.
The rapes occurred in every possible way that a victim can be raped as defined by our law, all while being held hostage by you under lock and key.
Why are we asking for essentially a murder type sentence? Because a kidnapping and rape episode like this really does murder part of a person.
Part of the victim's impact statement reads, "When I think about how this affected me, I think about how I never fully came back from those days." And then that statement went on to say, "Came back from those days, a part of me died in that apartment, and I mourn for the life that I could have lived, was supposed to live." Over the course of the trial, there were several outbursts and disruptions by the defendant. Today, the prosecutor described Pena as one of the most deliberately difficult defendants the building has ever seen. Pena's defense is planning to file an appeal. Live in the newsroom, Nathalie Pozo, WCVB News Center 5.
Nathalie, thank you. Still ahead at 5, a scare at sea.
What passengers are now telling us tonight after a fishing boat slammed into a cruise ship on its way from Boston to Bermuda.
Changing how we think about sleep. The new study showing it's not about how many hours you spend in bed. Local researchers say they've uncovered a deeper problem. Kellyanne.
It's been an incredibly hot and dry stretch for us. We're in for more heat, reaching extreme levels. We have a few drops on the radar, but we need more than just this to get us out of the drought conditions. I will look at a few shower and storm chances tomorrow, plus more rain on the way for later this week.
watching WCVB News Center 5 at 5.
Passengers on a Norwegian cruise from Boston to Bermuda are finally getting to relax and enjoy after a scare at sea.
A fishing boat slammed into the ship over the weekend just hours after it left Boston Harbor. And as you can see, the damage to the Gabby G, that fishing boat based out of New Bedford. Damage to the Norwegian Pearl itself was minimal. That ship left Boston on Friday and was able to continue cruising. It is expected to return on Friday morning. We turn now to your health here in News Center 5, and we know getting enough sleep is critical to both our mental and physical well-being.
But a new study reveals a deeper problem, one that won't be solved by just getting more hours in bed. Jessica is back now with that issue and some advice on how to fix it, Jessica.
You know, the recommendation has always been 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, right? But now we're talking about quality versus quantity. Local sleep experts found that even if you increase your sleep hours, your health could still be at risk.
Getting enough sleep is part of the equation, but then we also want to get quality sleep.
And a new study from Brigham and Women's Hospital shows many Americans are lacking in that part of the equation. In fact, just 28% of people who participated in this study reported high levels of what's called restorative sleep.
Restorative sleep is a sense of waking up and feeling like you can take on the day, having slept well, so your cognitive performance improves, your mood improves, your physical health improves.
Dr. Rebecca Robbins led an international team of researchers analyzing this data. She says for years, sleep studies have focused just on sleep duration. By zeroing in on sleep quality, she believes they've now uncovered a deeper problem.
You're not getting enough good quality sleep, and restorative sleep does present challenges to our overall health, our body health and our brain health.
Dr. Robbins says sleep disruptors have been plentiful lately. The pandemic, economic challenges, and general stress and anxiety over ongoing global and political turmoil are taking their toll, and the impacts are widespread. Research shows people who consistently get less than 6 hours of quality sleep a night are more than twice as susceptible to cold and flu. Low quality sleep can also impact blood pressure and risk for stroke or heart attack. And there's growing evidence that sleep plays a role in brain health, too.
Our research is showing that if you have poor sleep quality, low levels of restoration from sleep, that actually might increase your risk for dementia 5, 10, 20 years down the line.
So what can we do about it? Dr. Robbins says first find a consistent bedtime that works and stick to it. That will train your brain to know when it's supposed to be tired and when it should be alert. Second, power down those devices and wind down your brain. Do something relaxing before bed. Finally, create a buffer between your last meal and bedtime. You don't want to be digesting while you're trying to sleep. Dr. Robbins says summer creates its own sleep challenges, so get cool air into your bedroom and focus on light, breathable fabrics.
Temperature also really matters for our sleep. So sleep difficulties can rear their ugly head in the summertime.
And here's one more reason to improve that sleep quality. Dr. Robbins says when we're well rested, our bodies are better at controlling our appetite and curbing those hunger cravings. If you're tired, you're more likely to reach for the snacks, the more unhealthy foods during the day. Ed and Erica.
Great points. Great reminders, Jessica. Thank you very much.
Okay, back now to the weather. Big weather week. We're heating up.
It feels like it's been a big weather week every week.
Yeah, that's a good point by you. Yeah.
I know the weather's been just extreme. It's the heat, it's the humidity, but it's not the rain. We really haven't seen much of it. Now we're moving into the month of August, kicking it off with hot and dry stretch for us after what was a very dry July. Officially now in Boston, we're coming in for July is the 4th driest on record. And, you know, we look back to beginning of January, it's been a pretty dry stretch for us since the start of the year. We're about 8 inches below normal for the amount of rainfall that we should have at this point. So when we talk about a few showers and storms in the forecast tomorrow, shouldn't get our hopes up too much here. Unfortunately, we're talking about very isolated, brief showers that will be passing by, but a few rumbles of thunder too, as humidity will be in play. Higher heat and humidity in the forecast for tomorrow, although it reaches extreme levels moving toward Thursday. And we're also looking at an unsettled weekend, so heads up here. I know we're still early in the week here, but if you're already making those weekend plans, keep in mind we do have a chance for a few showers and storms this weekend. 77 right now in Boston with a little bit of blue sky trying to break through. We have relatively low humidity levels for beginning of August. Of course, we still have a little bit of that stickiness factor with dew points in the low to mid 60s, and that number will be creeping upward overnight through tomorrow. 70s in Boston now. We're seeing a lot of those 70s moving through southeastern Massachusetts where those clouds are thickest. Move north, that's where we're still holding on to those 80s. That's where it was a little hotter for us today as well. So we're seeing that humidity level starting to climb a bit, moving down toward the south coast and the islands, and eventually that higher humidity will be feeding its way northward. So by this time tomorrow, dew point temperatures in the 70s will start to feel tropical. Hopefully get a few more showers and storms out of that. But for now, we have just a few drops moving toward the south coast, Cape and Islands. Right now, Martha's Vineyard dealing with a pretty steady rain, and that's been covering a good portion of the mid-Cape as well. Shower and storm chances to our west. That's starting to make its way eastward toward us for tomorrow. So we'll be keeping an eye to the sky for the afternoon and evening. Your forecast tonight is looking mainly dry but muggy, and we are holding on to a few more clouds, low temperatures rather, in the upper 60s to low 70s. So it's going to be a pretty warm and muggy night. Not a great night for keeping the windows open. Near 90 degrees for your forecast tomorrow. So the heat is on along with that humidity. So it's no surprise that we do have the chance of a few thunderstorms, but the coverage is so isolated. Be weather aware by 1, 2 o'clock. You can see by 3 o'clock it's in Boston, and we're likely going to see a few more rumbles through about 6, 7 o'clock before things start to dry out. Then the focus is really on that record heat. Here's a look at what to expect in Boston. A high of 98 would set a new record. Previous record 96 set back in the 20s. Worcester could possibly set a record as well. Some of the hot spots in the Merrimack Valley could hit 100 degrees. So triple-digit heat on the way. Ed and Erica.
All right, Kellyanne, thank you. Baristas at several local Starbucks locations working the picket line.
Still ahead tonight on News Center 5, what they're accusing the coffee giant of doing to some workers who have chosen to unionize.
Right now at 5:24, almost 5:25, we're following breaking news from Washington, D.C. The president is set to address the nation tonight live after what the White House calls a successful counterterrorism operation and an al-Qaeda target in Afghanistan.
Officials say there were no civilian casualties, but did not offer any other details. The president will speak from the balcony off the White House Blue Room since he is still in isolation after testing once again positive for COVID-19. Of course, we will bring you the president's address right here on News Center 5.
When indeed it happens, it's scheduled to start around 7:30. A work truck vandalized with hateful messages.
Coming up at 5:30, how the incident is impacting the truck driver's livelihood.
And firefighters still do not have control of the McKinney fire in California, the conditions that are making it so difficult to contain those flames.
WCVB News Center 5 at 5:30 starts right now.
Sky 5 over breaking news right now at 5:30. A large fire burning at a transfer station in Marblehead. You can see massive plumes of smoke from this trash pile. This is in the area of Woodfin Terrace. It's not clear how the fire broke out. No reports of any injuries, though, at this time.
Right now at 5:30, police are searching for the vandals after a truck was targeted with, as you can see, hateful graffiti. This happened in Dorchester over the weekend, and it happened during the overnight hours into Sunday morning.
News Center 5's Danae Bucci spoke with the truck driver and joins us now live in Boston. Danae.
That truck driver discovered that vandalism on Sunday and says he will now be out of work for days because of it.
I don't want this to happen again to my truck. You know, he's going to put me out of business.
2 trucks vandalized with messages of hate on Talbot Avenue in Dorchester. One of them belonging to business owner and driver Eugene Miles.
I woke up in the morning, decided to go to my truck, and this is what I discovered.
Miles just bought his truck 2 months ago. Now a swastika, proud fascist, and the front windows spray painted. The truck in front of his seeming to have the Soviet Union hammer and sickle.
This is in Dorchester. You often don't see that, but nothing's shocking nowadays.
The incident forcing Miles to go without work for days as he makes repairs to the vehicle.
My insurance company's going to cover that, but it's not going to cover my 2-3 days of pay, what I could have made.
Miles reported the incident to police, and he says they're hoping a nearby camera will help find whoever did this.
There's a camera right in front of us. Hopefully it was working. If it's not, they didn't get nothing.
He says after this incident, he'll rethink parking on Talbot Avenue.
It's my second time parking here. I often park near South Bay.
So I'm assuming you're never going to park here again?
Oh, no, I'm done with it. I'm done. Never again.
And police are continuing to investigate this incident.